Auto shops, car meets, prize rides, and Nissan Skylines. This video is all about cars, cars, cars. Desmond is about to get his Fast and Furious on and put pedal to the metal in today's episode of GTA Online. Hope you enjoy. So I was having my morning shower and thinking of what new ventures I could delve into in Los Santos. We have recently acquired our own nightclub, delved into the devious business of the drug world, and even opened up an arcade. But annoyingly, nothing seemed to come to mind. So I headed upstairs to look out the window when I remembered an email that I had been sent a while back. The LS car meet. Now, this sounds interesting. Well, it's not like I have anything else better to do. Let's give it a look, shall we? Now, obviously this place is going to be full of sick cars and motorheads, so I reckon the Panto will fit in just nicely. Oh, and before I head on over, I decided to pick up some new clothes to hopefully suit the theme a bit better. Went with some cargo pants, a German Fister branded jacket, and a flat cap. Looks fine, I think. Then we headed on over to Cypress Flats and entered the famous Los Santos car meet. After irritating the locals, Desmond was introduced to Mimi, the runner of this place, and your boy Hal, the little fucker that won't let me get HSW upgrades because I'm not on next gen. What a cuck. Anyways, they gave me a quick rundown on how this place works. We can test out our cars in the test track, use the in-house mechanic to upgrade our vehicles, and even win a weekly prize ride by taking part in different types of races. Everything was going swimmingly until... Now, word of mouth spreads pretty quickly in Los Santos, and from what everyone has told me, these two are some of the worst people in the city, Sasanta and KDJ. Apparently they're looking to set up some work in our auto shop, but are looking for a partner to work with, which basically means they want to do stuff but they have no money so they're gonna leech off other people. Great. As annoying as it might be to have to interact with these guys on a regular basis, business is business, so I'll keep it in mind. After my introduction was over, I spoke with Mimi to buy a membership for the car meet. Now I have access to all the wonderful features of this underground paradise, but the one I am most interested in is this beauty right here, the Pegasi Osiris. Every week in GTA Online, a different vehicle is up for grabs as a prize ride. The challenge to win this bad boy is to come first in 3 street races 3 days in a row. Now I am pretty confident in my racing ability, but I know a challenge when I see one. Desmond is gonna have to be on top of his game to get his hands on this bad boy. We then took a further look around the place, found out that I have to level up my reputation to get any of the cool clothing items, and then decided to customize my Panto a little bit. Now, another cool thing about the car meet is the mod shop here allows you to put on low grip tires onto any car you want really, which makes drifting a little bit easier. So that's exactly what I did. Okay, I may have made a mistake. To truly fit into this place, I don't think the Panto's gonna work. We're gonna need a better car. In the intro of this video, I mentioned that Desmond is gonna get his Fast and Furious on, and that's exactly what we're gonna do. Now, if you're one of the legends that has watched this series all the way from the start, you will know that we got the free Elegy RS early on, but have barely used it since. Now, if you weren't aware, the Elegy RS can be converted into the Elegy Retro Custom, which of course is the iconic Nissan Skyline R34, one of the coolest cars of all time and arguably the most iconic car in a movie ever. However, to pull off this transformation, we first need access to Benny's original motorworks, which is locked behind the first mission of the Lowrider series. So, I guess that means we gotta give our good friend Lamar a visit.
This is it. Big dog about to take down some bitches.
Alright, chill my guy. Lamar told us all about his plan to become the king of Los Santos, and honestly, I didn't listen to much else. I'm doing this to get my ride and no other reason, so I could not give less of a shit about his business. I swear, every time I see this guy, he has some new entrepreneurial scheme going on. Maybe you should just give it a rest, man. Like, it's not working, clearly. Anyways, Lamar's grand plan is to start a war between the Vargos and the Ballers so that they want to buy more lowriders. If I remember correctly, I already did this in the last video, and I don't think I really saw an uptake in the amount of cars that were being sold, but, you know, Lamar, you do you, man. I won't judge. Whatever his plan was, I don't care. We had a mission, so, you know, let's do it. For this job, we needed 4 people. 2 disguised as Vargos members and 2 disguised as Ballers members. We drove around southern Los Santos taking out the rival gang to stir up some beef apparently, and then we thought that this would be enough to begin an all-out war, but for some reason the gangs met up in LSIA to sit down and talk like civil human beings. Fucking weirdos. Me and the gang put a stop to their nonsense and gunned down almost all the members, hopefully sending a shockwave throughout the suburbs and the projects. Again, I want to reiterate, I have no clue whatsoever how this is meant to help Lamar's businesses, but as long as he's happy and we can use Benny's workshop, I don't really give a shit. With us returning to home base, we completed the mission and I was finally able to take my boring, underused elegy and turn it into something of beauty. That's right, folks, we now have one of the most iconic cars in all of cinema, and I can't wait to show this off to the guys at the LS car meet, even though they don't know what a Nissan Skyline is because this is a fake world and it's called an elegy, but you get the point. But before we were able to head over there, I was reminded by a text from KDJ about the opportunity to open up an auto shop, and with a new ride to take in there and upgrade further, I couldn't think of a better time to do so. Now, there are quite a few locations for this business, however, none of them are really that amazing. In the end, I opted for the Strawberry Auto Shop, purely because it was close to Benny's and had a relatively easy access to the highway. Coming in at just over $1.7 million, it was a hefty investment, but we can hope it will be well worth it in the future. And like I said, the auto shop is literally right around the corner, so I quickly made my way over there and headed inside. Oh god, here we go.
Bring that ass over here. Shit, got me all stiff.
Yup, I'm regretting this shit already. Desmond already wanted to leave, and it's not even been like 5 minutes. But, you know, there is money to be made here, so we should probably stick around. Santa started off by insulting my ability to drive, and then said she wouldn't even continue to work with me if I couldn't get her car back from the police. I'm sorry, but excuse me? Girl, I bought the auto shop, became an LS car meet member, own a vehicle import and export business, as well as having an R34 Skyline. And you're telling me that I'm not good enough even though you somehow managed to lose your car to the cops? I don't know if this is privilege or pure idiocy speaking, but this girl needs to gain some fucking perspective. I'm gonna have to do what she says though, aren't I? Fine, I'll go be a good dog and fetch your car, you dumb bitch. So I drove on over to where Santa's car was impounded, using various combat techniques to take out the police in the area and took back her ride. I had a slight struggle getting out of the lot, which is purely my fault due to my parking decisions, but after some sick driving, I lost the cops and returned Santa's dumbass car back to the auto shop. And what do you know? After all that, they still don't trust me. Seriously, guys, do some research. Desmond is like the biggest criminal in these streets right now. Are you living under a rock or something? Anyways, they wanted me to do a line to prove I'm not a cop for some reason. And as I was about to go do it so we could actually start doing some goddamn business, they told me it was just some sweetener and they wanted to test me. And oh boy, they are testing me. Testing my fucking patience, that's what. Finally, after all that pissing about, we can get started with the actual business of the auto shop. So the main focuses are these jobs, which are pretty much miniature heists. KDJ will scope out a score, put it up on the board, and all we have to do is choose which one we want to do. But before we go and select one, I want to use another great resource of this place, which is the ability to upgrade our vehicle disregarding level or challenge requirements. That's right, even if you are level 1, if you own the auto shop, you can equip your car with turbo, chrome, any sort of paint you want, and every other customization under the sun. Since my car was already mostly decked out, I simply put on the armor, engine, and added turbo. But now with our car at peak performance, I wanted to go and give that LS car meet track another go. Once inside, we started up the time trial option from the quick interaction menu, which is a great way to test out your new cars and build up some reputation within the car meet. No, I did a few laps around the track and ended up setting my best time of 54 seconds. I don't have anything to compare that to, so that could be slow or it could be a world record. For now, let's just say it's a world record to make me feel better about myself. Anyways, after that, we headed back up to the auto shop to start up one of these contracts posted up on the whiteboard. And to be honest, the payout of these missions is actually really good. 180k, 170k, 172k. This might be a good addition to Desmond's money-making methods. Of course, in the end, we chose the job that would give us the most money, the Lost Contract. You know, I have some beef with those biker freaks myself, so this will take care of that as well, I hope. These contracts consist of 3 missions each, 2 initial setups and a big finale. Our first mission was called Lab Locations, and as the name suggests, we went to find out the locations of various Walter White labs that the Lost MC had ownership of. So Santa found the location of their primary clubhouse, so we drove on over there, and while I'm sure I could have been more civilized, I wanted to get this mission done as fast as possible, so I wouldn't have to keep proving myself to Santa and her mans as much. I headed inside the clubhouse, took out all the members with not much difficulty, then I searched for the lab locations and also picked up a lovely bag of explosives to use on those said labs when the time was right. Escaping the biker gang may have been a tough task for any old geezer, but Desmond and his new Elegy Retro Custom smoked their asses and made it back to the auto shop in no time. Next up, we started Mission 2, known as Transport Method. The heist finale consists of blowing up the Lost MC's labs and then stealing their final supplies, so we needed to figure out when and where their supplies are going to be, as well as how to transport them. Luckily for us, the biker boys seem to be having a meeting down at the docks. Seems like an appropriate time to go and pay them a visit. Again, this time I was actually going to choose the peaceful route and wait for the Lost MC to leave to take a picture of the information they gave to a worker, but Desmond's lack of stealth gave his position away, and once again it turned into an all-out bloodbath. As I said last time, a typical Tuesday for my boy. Once the main forces were down, I attempted to take a photo of the information on the clipboard, but it seems Desmond might need to take a few photography lessons because my guy could not get the goddamn photo. After about 3 minutes and near death, we finally snapped a pic of the information and began to drive away until Santa called us and requested we steal a truck cab, as that's how we'll be able to deliver the goods later on. I proceeded to follow her advice, and by doing so we get another one of Rockstar's famous missions of driving a painfully slow vehicle across the map while being chased by enemies. Fantastic game design, I must say. Anyways, we have finally arrived at our destination, and with that, the setups were complete. Now, time to get us some cash. We made our way back to the shop, started up the final mission, and we were filled in on what's to play. Our job was to go from lab to lab, blowing them up, and then heading up to Stab City to collect the final supplies from the last MC, and then deliver them to a buyer. Things started off why am I doing an accent? Things started off pretty well. The first lab was a breeze, taking down the guards and blowing the place to smithereens without much trouble. However, it was lab 2 when things started to heat up. You see, the struggle with this mission is not only do you have enemies at the lab to take care of, but you also have the Lost MC members that spawn in on bikes and follow you around the map, meaning that since we are in Sasanta's garbage car rather than my armored Kuruma, I almost have zero protection. You'll see this become an even bigger problem very soon. But anyways, we did eventually get inside the second lab and also made sure it exploded just like a 14-year-old boy looking at corn for the first time. Wait, what did I just say? The third lab was further up in the county, and I was already starting to run low on snacks and armor. Taking down the guards out front was becoming a bit of a struggle now, but luckily since they don't follow you inside, I rushed for the door and planted the third bomb. I then somehow made it back to my car alive, but that's where my close calls with death would end, because as soon as I made it through the fourth lab's gate and jumped out of my ride, I was hit with a critical gunshot that made me go night-night. From there, I managed to pull it back just a little bit, bolstering my way through the defenses and getting inside the fourth lab, planting the final bomb and setting it off without a hitch. Now I was only left with the final task, getting back in my truck, heading on over to Stab City and stealing the supplies. Fuck. As irritated as I was in that current moment, I did restart the mission and try again. I blew through all the labs without issue this time and managed to get back to Stab City with all my lives left. I knew this area would be tough with the amount of enemies and the awkward angles and areas they could be hiding in, so I took it slow, picking them off one by one where I could, only being the aggressor when it was absolutely necessary. Oh, and don't worry that GTA says I have 0 lives left. That is definitely a glitch, not an indicator that I died and cut it out of the video. Once Desmond had cleared out the trash, we got back in our truck and attached the tanker to the back of it. Lost MC members tried their best to take me on, but I was not going to be toppled by the likes of them again. Although it did get pretty scary at some points. My ass was tense to the point of fear of cramp, and the sweat dropping off my forehead could have turned the Sahara into an ocean. But of course, KDJ and Sasanta were getting their sexy talk on while I was pulling off a super dangerous mission.
Hey, baby, I'm thinking about spending my cut on that Lucien dress you've been talking about.
I don't need you to buy me that shit, player. I got it myself after our last job.
Oh, shit. How's it look, baby?
9 when it's on, 10 when it's off.
Damn. Okay, y'all. Come on. It's time to wrap this shit up.
Honestly, fuck these guys. They have no respect for me, or for business. At this rate, I might even prefer to have my assistant here. At least I won't have to be reminded every second of how lonely I am. Anyways, I delivered the goods to the buyer and finished up the job. 160k is a good amount for the work I did, but it won't be enough to compensate for the mental torture of having to work with these two degenerates. After a less than peaceful drive back, I decided to hit up the legal side of our business and customize a car for one of our customers. Typically, the modifications these people want to make for their cars are pretty shit and look terrible, but this time I'll respect the choices. Doesn't look too bad. Once the ride was pimped, I delivered it on over to the docks, only to be quite disappointed by the sum of money we received. I know this mission only took a few minutes, but honestly, I don't know if this was really a good use of time or not. I'd much rather sit in silence and think of ways to get my assistant, Lester, Laszlo, KDJ, and Santa in a room together and make sure they never come out. God, I really need to figure out a way to do that. Now, earlier on in the video, I mentioned that this week's prize rider is the Pegassi Osiris, a really good car that I want to win, so I went ahead and did that. I headed into my first street race, with the only caveat being that I did this while live streaming. By the way, if you want to catch these live and interact with me, go ahead and go over to twitch.tv/lankmandan and follow me. But yeah, the issue with doing this live is that not only do I have to focus on driving, I also have to focus on reading chat, and occasionally you irritating subscribers of mine force me to drink water while I'm driving due to channel points. Hydrate. At the start of the race, really? I did. I'm not saying I don't appreciate the hydration reminder, but I don't appreciate not being able to drive my car properly. Either way, I actually did, you know, quite decent. I wasn't that confident at the start due to these issues, but after some clean racing by myself and 2 other players leaving the lobby, I was quite surprised to see a finish line with my name written all over it. Oh yeah, first race of the day, boys. That was easy. What the hell? All right, well, I'll take it. I guess I can change the name of the stream already because I already won. The next day I logged on for another street race, this time getting lucky with only 1 opposing driver to take down. And you know, Big Boy Dizzy just had to do it to them. After destroying them so badly on the track, they actually quit, so I got another uncontested win. Pretty easy. On the final day of racing, all I had to do was finish in first place one more time and I would get my hands on a new beautiful supercar. And I definitely won this race fair and square. It's not like I would log onto another account and play against myself or anything. And there it is, we have our first ever LS car meet prize ride, the Pegassi Osiris, and I won all 3 races. Well, that's a lie, but yes, a $1.9 million car for absolutely free. This may just be the biggest W we have seen Desmond get yet. And in terms of customizing it, I'm gonna leave that up to you guys. Comment down below what colors you want the Osiris to be, and I will pick my favorite and shout you out in the next video. Over the past few days, we have joined an underground car meet, helped Lamar Davis start up a new tuner business, purchased ourselves one of the most iconic cars in cinema, bought a new auto shop, and won ourselves a new supercar. A pretty successful time if I don't say so myself. Only thing that would make it better is if I could find a way to get KDJ into Santa brutally murdered.